When I say our Creator made me see Him 8 times, that means I know more than you. To learn what I know will take your belief to a trust. I will teach you the true truths about our Father and the true truths about Jesus, our King in heaven. Do you know where heaven is located from earth? It is also to know where our Creator ascended to. It is also to know where the souls ascended when Jesus died on the cross and they entered into heaven. In my description below, I have other video links. And now I'd like to get started here by showing you the text that you can only find in a few Bibles. Now, I use the New American Standard 1977, and that's because I have a Bible program that I'm going to show you that's quite unique because it has the New American Standard concordance on there. These are the verses in the New American Standard Bible, and you can see how the text is the same here. So let's just get rid of this text here and just pay attention to this one here. It says, beautiful in elevation, the joy of the whole earth. Now this is verse 1 and 2. 2 is this one here. So, beautiful in elevation, the joy of the whole earth, is Mount Zion in the far north, the city of the great King. To correct this, these words here, we have to understand what the far north is. And by doing that, I'm going to have to explain the 3 heavens. There are 3 heavens found in the Hebrew text. The 3rd heaven is where the birds fly. The 2nd heaven is also known as the where the stars make a motion and they make a mountain. And then above the North Star is where heaven is located from earth. So is Mount Zion in the far north? Well, we don't need the word is, and it wasn't asking it as a question anyway. They were kind of saying it is. Now, the first thing to do is to correct the word mount. The word mount is incorrect here. It is actually mountain, and that's because there's only one North Star in heaven. So let me take you to the web and show you the North Star and how the star, this is photo elapsed time of the stars moving. They'll set their cameras to record for an hour to get this motion or less or even more, depends on how long the streaks are here. This might look like it's a half hour. This one here looks maybe a little bit more than a half hour. But you can see down here, these are definitely more than a half hour. And you can see how this peak is formed. And it's above the North Star is where our Creator ascended to when he got done talking with Adam and Eve or Moses or Abraham, or Noah, for that fact. So now you have a visualization where our Creator ascended to. Okay, and it is a mountain, not a mount. So, I'm going to show you the quick verse program that I've got. And let me see. Okay, now this is the program, but the only thing is it no longer exists. Because what you would do, as you can see, I've got the New American Standard Bible. I have Psalms 48 open, and I just have verse 2. Okay, I thought I had 2, but here they do explain that it is his holy mountain. Okay, but beautiful in elevation, the joy of the whole earth is Mount Zion in the far north. When I click on the word north or far here, the program shows it in Hebrew, but in English letters over here. But what is very important is down here. And this program These numbers that are into parentheses tell you how many times they used this English word for the Hebrew word when it came up in the sentence or in the verse. Now, you can see that it's saying it started from this verse here. Let me clean it up and start again here. They're saying that the Hebrew word started from here and they're continuing to make what it means. A flank, a side, extreme parts, recesses. Okay, so let's see how they did. They used the word extreme once, far once, flank, hold, inner. I don't see that as extreme parts or recesses. I'm sure that there's a Hebrew text or word for the word inner or inner, but rear part, that's debatable. But here it's used recesses 3 times. But here it's used as the word remote part twice, remote parts 5 times, so they've added an S here, and then remotest parts 5 times. Okay, so when they use the word far, that is a correct meaning of what they're talking about in the verse when you understand what the far north is. Now, the program, if I select the word north here, you can see down here that the word north is used over 130 times as the word north. North sides, northern, northward. But the word north is definitely there. Far, this does kind of go with the other words here, so I would say they could correctly use the word far as talking about the far north, meaning the remotest part of the north, and that's the North Star, or the north in the second heaven. Now let me get back to the text, and now I'll explain how I correct the text. That's a little bit later. Now the word beautiful just doesn't tell you what you need to understand in this verse. It's high in elevation. This is when you're trying to figure out the word far north, it's easier to understand. High in elevation is the second heaven, which is the stars. Okay, and they're the joy of the whole earth, is our creators. Now I had the green text is what I'm adding, okay, so the blue text is what I'm removing or correcting, but I do need to add these words in this verse to make this verse complete so you understand it correctly. Our Creator's mountain is called Zion in the far north, and heaven is where the kingdom for our great king will be. See, they have it the city of the great king. Now, Jesus never was king of Jerusalem, so they can't say that it was a city, and we're trying to point out Mount Zion as Jerusalem. It's just not there. So to correctly put this, because we know that when they wrote the Psalms, there's many Psalms that are describing, they're having new songs to sing about Jesus, because David has just been promised through his son's seed will have a kingdom in heaven, and this is why people will enter into heaven, is under his rule, Jesus's rule. So it's not a city, it's a kingdom, and it's not of the great king. I don't understand why they're using the word of all the time, but that's what they're doing. That's the editors editing the text. And then we have, I put in, for our great king will be. Now I used capital letters for will be because that's saying that's what our Creator's promise is. So when you see text that's highlighted like this, these are when you see my editing of the text, you'll see that I honor and respect our Creator by giving him a color and all the words in capital letters. And you will find that I do not capitalize the first letter of any sentence because we're talking about Hebrew. Proper English wasn't around until probably about 1400 or something when they actually started writing the English language out. But the object is there will be no proper English here in this video or in this channel. We're talking about what's written over 2,000 years ago to 4,000 years ago that they didn't use proper English. So you can take a screenshot to see the before and after to understand what the text is now going to look like. And you also know where heaven is located. Now this is important to know that where heaven is located for the simple fact that to have a visualization of when our Creator ascended after he talked to Adam and Eve, when he talked to Noah, when he talked to Abraham, when he talked to Moses, where Moses raised his staff to heaven to ask for the plague to come about, where after Solomon built the house for meeting with our Creator, they had a dedication to the house. And when Solomon faced heaven or looked heaven, he dropped to his knees, spread his arms open, and he petitioned our Creator about those that have been that might go into captivity, that if they look and pray to Jerusalem, that they're actually respecting our Creator by trying to talk to him that visits our this house for meeting with him. And from heaven, at the end of it, they had put they sacrificed an animal, and then they took the meats of the animal, the muscles, and put them on the great altar, the large altar. There's 13 altars in the courtyard, one for each tribe, and then the large one is where if the whole kingdom sinned or the king sinned, it was offered there on that altar. And on that altar they had put hung the muscles on some meat hooks. They had stands with hooks to put the meat, and then they would put the wood underneath it and then bring fire over to it to make this action reduced to ashes, and then can be blown away in the wind. And the meaning is it is forgotten. So what the text says there is that fire descended from heaven, and it put fire to the altar and burnt up the offering. So now you have a visualization that they were looking towards the North Star, and they seen the heavens open so they could see the stars, and then from the North Star this flame come down straight from heaven, and then took the offering. This is also where Jesus looked and asked our Creator for a blessing. Visualization is very important, and to understand the text and get a very personal idea of what is going on. And what I want to do is just now show you the other Bibles. How did they write the text here? So let's take a look here. Here is a second book. What I did is I went to BibleHub.com, put in Psalms 48 verse 2, and this is all verse 2, and then you can see that this text is actually the same text as the New American Standard. When people are getting copyrights to the Bible, they start from a certain Bible, and then they have to change so many words in it to make it something that they can sell you. So some are distorting the words just to sell you a book, that they aren't being honest. So I believe that this other book here is the same. They changed the name. This would have been like the older version of this one here. This one is the older version. This is the new one, and they just renamed it. But let's take a look at the others that are here that I grabbed. They use the word mountain correctly. Mountain of God or for God. God is a title, not his name. You should not ever refer to our Creator, I would say, as a God, unless you're talking to someone who doesn't understand, because other religions use the word God as a title for the many gods in Hinduism, and there's a difference because Christians don't understand all the other religions, and I would expect them to stop saying the word God as his name. You should say our Creator, our Father, or what I do is I just took the 4 letters YHVH and removed the H and just say YV. I went over that in the last video if you wanted to understand why, because I showed you that there's no W in Hebrew, there's no O in Hebrew. So that's why you would not use YHWH at any reason, or they try to put Yehovah or whatever. They put a Y in the middle of it, or a W in the middle of the name. That can't be true. Here is another Bible. This comes from the Jews who don't believe in our Creator, so I can see them using the city of a great king. But the uttermost parts of the north. Now, this one is trying to say the far north, okay? But doesn't want to use just one word. They're deceiving people by adding all kinds of words here. Here, it's just a beautiful peak on the northern ridge. See, this is where they're trying to say that it's Jerusalem is Mount Zion, and it's just not true. International uses the word situated, and it's towards the north, okay? Here's the King James, on the sides of the north. How can you have something on the sides of the north and not speak about the top of the north, you know, on the peak? But the city goes all the way around it, but doesn't have anything on the peak. But the object here is they too used it as a city, and saying Mount Zion is where the city Jerusalem. And yet Jesus was never king over a nation. So on earth anyway, that would say that he was the king and this was his great city or his capital city that he lived in. Here they're adding an S to mountains, changing the name to Sion, but it's still on the sides of the north. Here these are others that are on the sides of the north. As you can see, nobody wanted to actually go and find that the text was meaning the remotest parts, but all of a sudden it was on the sides. Here it's on the slopes, or on the side of the north, or the slopes of the north. Here it's loftiness. And here they've changed Zion to Zephon. but still they got the word mount. And you can see that these are all kind of using the same text, so you can see that they're copying from each other here, or change the words to be so close to each other. But the object is rising splendidly. The North Star never rises. It's not something that you would see it come up like the planet Mars or Jupiter or Saturn, that would come up and go across from east to west. But the object is they're thinking that it does, and we know it doesn't. Lofty and pleasing to look at, a source of joy. Now, like I said, they're just adding extra meanings that are deceiving you. And for what purpose? Why would they deceive you where our Creator ascended to, where Moses looked to ask for the plague? Here it's high and magnificent, and rejoices to see it. They're calling his mountain an it, but they do have the word mountain. So congratulations there for them on that. Truly sacred. Now here it can't be something you visit or would say stars are sacred, or this Mount Zion of the stars making the motion sacred. A home for the great king. Anyways, it comes down to only 2 Bibles that gave us the true truth of where heaven is located. And now you know the truth where heaven is located. So you might want to pass this information on to other people. That'll be the end of this video, and I'll get on to the next one.